Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when the tides turn against the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So when the tides, yes, plural, when they turn against the narcissist, there's no turning back. You see, what the narcissist has done throughout their whole life is destroy people's lives. They've destroyed people's relationships. They've consumed their time, their energy, their resources. They've crushed their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. And all of this will catch up with the narcissist. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe today. Who knows when it will happen? And you don't want to be anywhere around the narcissist when this takes place. But when the tides, plural, turn against the narcissist, this will start with one tide turning, which probably started with you. And then another tide will turn, and so on, and so on, and so on. As you get stronger, the narcissist becomes weaker. As you break the four ties of the narcissistic abusive cycle, which include the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie, when you break those ties and you are untethered to the narcissist and you are out of the narcissistic fog and they don't matter to you because you've healed or you are well on the healing path, this is when the tide with you has turned against the narcissist. This is a good thing. It starts with you, but it will have a ripple effect throughout your life, a positive effect that is, and it will not have a positive effect for the narcissist's life. You see, what the narcissist did when they had you in that relationship is not only did they take you for granted, but they tricked you and they trapped you and they gaslit you, gave you the silent treatment. They threw rage fits on you and they abused you any way possible, financial, physical, verbal, spiritual, every way possible. And when you did the best you could to keep that relationship afloat, despite the fact that the person you were working for, literally and figuratively, and the person that perhaps you even fell in love with and certainly cared deeply about, maybe even loved, when that person twisted the knife in you, and when they wanted to do damage to and inflict damage that they did not think would be reparable, this is the tide that has turned. Because you see, you did everything and more. You went above and beyond the call of duty in that relationship. You were up against a behemoth, a juggernaut, which turned out to be the narcissist. You weren't taught Narcissism 101 in school, so you did not know that people like this existed. You thought that people were like-minded and that had your best interest at heart and that would keep their word and be honorable and be honest and be trustworthy. And if they said something, they would follow it up with their actions. Well, we now know that that's not what happens in these relationships. With the toxic person, they will sell you a bill of goods. They will promise you the sun, the moon, and the stars, and everything in between, and they will deliver absolutely zero. You see, the energy exchange that takes place between you and that person, it was their toxicity that they were dumping into you by having you tricked and trapped and existing in that narcissistic fog or the devaluation stage. And they were stealing your beautiful, bright, shining light. They were stealing your energy. They were stealing your empathy and your love and resources. And what they wanted to do was make themselves feel better about themselves because they could control you and they could manipulate you and they could keep you stuck. That's why when you were in the relationship, you would see the narcissist throw a smirk at you, or they would look at you with a grin, or maybe they would just stare at you sometimes. Maybe even when you were sleeping, you would roll over and this person would be about 6 inches away from your face, dissecting you, staring at you, thinking, how do I get to them? What else should I do? What makes them tick? Why are they so special? Why do they have everything I want? How do I take it from them? Yes, these things and so many more would take place when you're in the relationship because the narcissist was always looking at you and they were studying you and trying to figure out what made you tick. And the narcissist was and is and forever will be envious and jealous. They are cowards, they're bullies, there's no substance to them. The only thing they do is mimic back other people's hopes, dreams, ideas, aspirations, and goals. That's why the narcissist is a professional thief of so many things. I just mentioned a bunch of things that they stole, and what they were hoping is that they would not be replaceable. And that includes your tangible assets, your health, money, everything else, your relationships. But what happened when you exited that relationship, no matter how it ended, if you were discarded or you ended it yourself, either way my heart goes out to you, but what happened is you healed, or you are healing, or you're about to embark on the healing path. And that's something that these people, i.e. the narcissist, never thought you would do. You see, the narcissist was so accustomed to controlling people and to driving wedges between people and anything that mattered to them, which included their jobs, their hobbies, their health, their relationships, their families, their own children. their money, everything. And they never ever expected somebody to be smart enough or to be wise enough or to be intelligent enough or to have the fortitude and the commitment and the dedication and the devotion and the resilience enough to break the bond, to break the ties. And guess who that person is? It's you. You're doing it right now. You are watching videos, you're consuming content, you're getting your cup full, you're topping yourself off. If you have been in the relationship for a day, a week, a year, a month, a lifetime, and you're here and you're getting the wisdom, you're now applying your experiences with the terms, which include gaslighting, stonewalling, silent treatment, projection, rage fits, financial abuse, etc. And you're learning all about them because you weren't taught them in school. And those two things equal wisdom. And once you really wrap your head around the fact that this person who turned out to be the toxic narcissist never loved you, they never cared about you. They didn't care about you then, they don't care about you now, they will never care about you in the future. Once you wrapped your head around that, yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow because you probably were missing what you never had. You were missing the bill of goods that they sold you and they delivered absolutely nothing on. And this is the energy exchange that I'm talking about. The narcissist wanted to dump all their toxicity into you and steal your energy, your positivity, your abundance, your empathy, and your love and everything. Now, why I'm saying those things is because eventually the tides will turn against the narcissist. And like I mentioned, it begins with you. Once you take action and you go no contact and you block these people, you delete them, remove them and all flying monkeys and people associated with them, which includes enablers or includes anyone who's one step away from the narcissist, maybe even someone who's 2 steps away from the narcissist these days. But anyone who's in direct communication with them, you should not be in communication with if you don't need to be. And if you can't, utilize Grey Rock. Get off of their radar. Don't share, and certainly don't overshare, become dull and boring, but have, develop, create, and get ready to execute an exit plan because you want to get as far away from these people as possible. But once you wrapped your head around that and you realize that, yes, you were taken advantage of, and yes, you were hoodwinked and you were placed in that narcissistic fog, but you're out now and your clarity is returning, your mindset is returning, your days are returning, your sleep patterns are returning, your eating habits are returning, your exercise regime is returning, your friendships that you had in the past, most of those are decimated or blown up, if not all of them. Maybe there are a few that you could salvage if they're not in communication with the toxic narcissist, but those people will be few and far between. And then you're going to dissect your immediate family. Do they understand what you went through? Are they listening to you, or are they getting burnt out? Or have you now identified that those people perhaps could be toxic? I can't tell you. What I can tell you is once you go through the cycle and you heal and you see the world the way it really is, not the way you wanted to see it, and definitely not the way the narcissist portrayed it to you, that's when you become abundant. That's when you are either arriving at or striving to reach the pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, where you no longer care about toxicity from the past because now you've wrapped your head around what it was and you've healed. And the healing path, you must remember again, it's not linear. It will take time. It will take a lot of time. But in your time, you will heal if you utilize the tools that are provided for you on the channel and in the community. You see, at one point, we all here on the channel were the new supply, or we were a target, or we were someone who didn't have the education or the wisdom on the cycle. But now, most of us have understood what it is. Not all of us, because each and every day, unfortunately, there are new people being discarded. And those people, maybe they were in more than one narcissistic relationship and they didn't get the wisdom. Maybe today is the first video you're watching and you're finally getting light bulb moments and you're saying, oh my gosh, Andrew is speaking the truth. He knows what he's talking about. He must have been through it. Well, yes, I am. And yes, I have been through it. And yes, I have healed. And my hope is that you reach where I am one day. But to get there, it will take a lot of work. But that work will include no communication with the toxic narcissist or any people that don't serve you. That is why the healing path, we are all on it, we are all headed in the same direction, simply taking different footsteps. You may be a couple steps in front of me, maybe you're 100 yards in front of me, maybe you're 200 yards behind me, maybe you're walking right side by side with me. But any way you cut it, we are all headed in the same direction. And that direction is away from the narcissist. It's not getting closer to them. It's get as far away from these people as you possibly can. And the more people that do that, the more tides that begin to turn, plural, against the narcissist. Now again, I'm not a doom and gloomer. I don't wish ill will upon anybody, not even the narcissist. I've never done that, and I'm not going to start now. What I've done my whole life is take the high road, do the right thing specifically when nobody's looking and without expectation for payback. You do what you should do to benefit the planet and those loved and trusted ones that you surround yourself with. And that's what you did when you were in the narcissistic relationship. You gave to a fault. Maybe you were a people pleaser. Maybe you couldn't say no, the strongest word in the English language. I can assure you, you didn't have any boundaries, and you were believing in the narcissist, and you were believing in the mask. But once that all dissipated, like that always does, that once it faded away, and the luster and the lure and the shine of that relationship to the narcissist with you, once that faded away and they found a new supply or a new shiny object, of course, usually that's when the discard happens, or maybe they try and string you around a little bit longer, but anyway you cut it, you will be missing what you never had, which was the love bomb / euphoric stage. Now, was that real? Did you experience certain things with the toxic creature, the narcissist? Of course you did. But they were just mirroring back to what you wanted to see. So that those experiences did take place, but they took place with a cardboard cutout, a hologram, somebody with no heart, no empathy, somebody who was trying to set you up for failure down the road, and someone who's trying to take anything they possibly could from you. So having said these things, when the tides turn against the narcissist, it won't just be when you go no contact and block them. It will be when people that they surround themselves with currently, many of which you probably don't even know, those people will begin to wise up, and they'll be saying that, wait a minute, the person that they were in the relationship in the past, which was you, that perhaps was discarded or however it ended, because they will never know the truth, they will now see that same pattern with the new supply or a new supply, or maybe even with themselves. And these people I'm referring to, the people that you may not even know about, but perhaps know of you, they will be scratching their heads saying, wait a minute, that's what happened to me and I'm not feeling good right now. And what's the common denominator? Common denominator is the narcissist. You see, they don't care about anybody. They never cared about you. They don't care about the new supply. They didn't care about the supply source before you. They don't care about anybody but themselves. And they will go any which way the wind blows to get whatever they want that benefits them in the moment. Side note, pro tip, and play this and play it a few times, and I've said it many times in videos. You live in the present moment. The narcissist lives for the moment. There's a massive difference when you are living in the present moment. You're not thinking about the past, you're not predicting the future, and you're living in the here and the now, because nobody, not one of us, is guaranteed to be here tomorrow. Now, the narcissist lives for the moment. That's why when you were in that relationship with them, you would make plans with them, and frequently they would be late, they wouldn't show up, or they would cancel at the last minute because they had something better to do the way they looked at it. It wasn't better to do in your eyes because you wanted to spend time with people, but they looked at a bigger opportunity, a bigger fish, or something else they could do, or maybe they're just trying to twist the knife in you. Maybe they just sat home in their basement wearing their spaghetti-stained t-shirt, playing Xbox on one of their 3 smartphones, of which 2 of them died because they have no battery, and they were just on social media in between Xbox breaks trying to get your replacement, but they did not spend that time with you because they were trying to keep you stuck in traps. You see, that's what the narcissist does. There's no authenticity, there's no genuineness, there's nothing of substance within these people. And so when the tides begin to turn against the narcissist, and they will, they become insurmountable, because this is when their own children don't want anything to do with them. This is when their business associates or their colleagues or their partners want nothing to do with them. This is when the neighborhood figures out that, wait a minute, it wasn't that person's spouse that was the bad person. It was this person who was using this thing called the smear campaign. I didn't even know what a smear campaign was, but now I see it happening again with a different person, another friend of mine who is in a new relationship with the person who turned out to be the narcissist. I hope you follow that. You see, the pieces of the puzzle get put together more and more and more the further you get away from the relationship. The further you get away, the smaller the narcissist gets. The smaller they get, the stronger you get. The stronger you get, the more clarity you get. The more clarity you get, the more light bulb moments you have. And the more light bulb moments you have, the more pieces of the puzzle you can put together. But it's not just you. It's people from your past, in neighborhoods where you lived, in business groups where you were part of, in communities and religious organizations, in hobby groups, in other circles, in other social circles. You see, when you were discarded, and again, I'm not trying to trigger you or upset you, but when you were discarded, it was you against the world, because nobody checked in on you. Nobody said, hey, listen, I'm here for you. What can I do for you? Nobody did that. And if there were a couple of people that did, they got burned out, A, or B, they're a toxic person. They were just getting supply from watching your life implode. But what happened? You had to put yourself back together. And then as you were working on yourself and you were in that insulation cocoon of boundaries, insulating yourself, staying away from people because you just didn't want to go outside, and you wanted to stay and heal and cry and shed tears and journal and meditate and see a therapist and heal childhood wounds, and you wanted to really put yourself back together. This is once you've acquired the wisdom. That's what you did for a period of time. And for some of us, it's been years. Others, it's been less, and even others, it's been more. Nobody can put a timeline on the healing path. A timeline on the healing path is a direct contingent correlation. It's directly contingent upon how much work you place into yourself. Example, if someone tells you if you do A, B, and C, you're going to heal in this period of time, they don't know what they're talking about because they don't know what you've been through. They're just trying to sell you something. So don't listen to that. That's not accurate. It's directly contingent upon how much work you place into you. And that's what I had to do, and that's what so many people have to do that I work with during one-on-one sessions. But having said that, these people, back when you were discarded, they were believing the smear campaign. Some of them were fueling it. Many were sitting on the sidelines grabbing their popcorn, and they were watching your life implode and watching to see what this person who they didn't figure out at the point of time was a narcissist, what they would do. Well, when this other person who turned out to be the narcissist, perhaps the person you were in a relationship with, went on to somebody new rather quickly, and maybe they moved in with them quickly, maybe they got married quickly, maybe they went into business, I don't know what they did, but whatever they did, there were people that you knew back then, some you knew and some you didn't, that were observing what you were doing and what this person who turned out to be the narcissist was doing. And they probably didn't see you for a long period of time, if not ever. Because again, as I mentioned, you were healing. You were in that cocoon of boundaries. That's what you were supposed to be doing. And if you're in one right now, you should stay there until it feels comfortable to get out and until you get the wisdom and apply the tools. But the narcissist doesn't have such a thing because they don't need to heal from anything. They believe they're infallible and they don't care. And to prove it, that's how quickly they can go on to a new source of supply or a new relationship because they don't have to shed tears. They don't have to cry. They don't have to put themselves back together. They're not missing one thing. The only thing they were missing is supply. And supply can come from anything. It can come from a trip. It can come from a human being. It can come from a package arriving in the mail. It can come in from sitting on the sidelines watching somebody's life. It can come from anything. But so these people that watched you disappear off the face of the map, whatever it's called, face of the earth, and when you were healing in that cocoon of boundaries, that's what I did, and I'm sure that that's what you were doing if you're not doing it now. They were probably saying, well, wow, what's going on there? Why did they? Well, they were meant to believe the smear campaign that you were a not good person. But guess what? When they saw you disappear and go underground and heal and focus on yourself, of which nobody knew about, they were watching this other person who turned out to be the narcissist gallivanting the globe, celebrating, laughing it up all over social media and maybe playing the victim or maybe saying that, yeah, my ex is such a toxic person, whatever they're saying. Well, they have a loud voice usually, which is the narcissist. Not always, but usually. And now with the wisdom that not only that you have, and I provide, but those people that you knew in the past, some of which you didn't know when you were in a relationship with a narcissist, now they can be wise enough, my hope is, to deduce, wait, this person, your ex, they're now on their second or third relationship. What's going on here? Oh my God, the common denominator is this person. And they're a narcissist? Is that true? Well, think about it. If there are two people in a relationship and one person goes under the radar because they've been so crushed and decimated and hurt and destroyed, and that was me, my guess is it was you, and I'm not trying to upset you, but we have to heal. We have to process things that how somebody could do this. That's not what the narcissist does. They just go off like nothing ever happened and they paint the narrative however they want to via the smear campaign because they've done it before and they'll do it again and they don't care. But when people are waking up and wising up and realizing that it wasn't you that was the bad person, you were an amazing person and you still are. It's this narcissist person. This is the person creating all the destruction. That's why their own children don't want to talk to them. That's why their exes have gone no contact. That's why people, their besties of 10, 20 years, want nothing to do with them because they now realize they've been used also. That's when all the beach houses in Mexico are worthless. That's when all the ski trips in Vancouver are worthless. That's when everybody wakes up and realizes that it wasn't you, it was the narcissist. Now, are these people going to know what the term narcissist is these days? Possibly, in this day and age, they may. Years ago, they wouldn't have, but maybe they do now, but it doesn't matter. You can call them whatever you want to. Let's just use toxic person as an example. When the tides, plural, turn against the toxic person, they really have nowhere to run to. Sure, they can relocate to a new city, town, state, or country, but what will they have to do? They'll have to start all over again and try to groom people and manipulate them and trick them and trap them, and guess what? That's what they do. You see, they paint themselves into a corner. And that corner that they painted themselves into, many times they can't get out of it. That's why the narcissist can't sit still. That's why they're always on the go. That's why they're always looking over their shoulder. That's why they are never accountable. And that's why they have to relocate so frequently, because they themselves need a clean slate. Because once they're discovered, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. And you certainly can't be giving the smear campaign life when you realize it was all planted. These were all seeds of doubt. These were all flat out lies on the behalf of the narcissist to do what? To destroy your life. But this will all come back to roost, and it will go against the narcissist, because the truth is coming out more than ever, now more than ever. And the clarity is all around the planet. And people, we are now realizing and accepting, unfortunately, that people aren't who they appear to be, and that all of us, every single one of us, will reveal ourselves in time. I'm no different, the narcissist is no different, and anybody you meet in the future will be no different. And usually it's at times of crisis, or when you're at your lowest point in time. That's when the narcissist will end these relationships or kick you when you're down, because they get a thrill, they get supply, they get comfort knowing that you're not doing well. And that's what they want to do over and over and over again. They want to make sure that you are in as much discomfort as possible, so that can fuel them, so they can move on for the next day, and so on and so on and so on, which means, another example of that would be when the relationship ends. That's why the narcissist doesn't give you closure. They don't give you closure because they don't want to, because they can move on so effortlessly, because they don't care about anybody, and they want to keep people stuck in that narcissistic fog over and over and over again. So that's why the narcissist does what they do. That's when the tides, plural, turn against the narcissist, because they will. If they haven't already, believe me when I tell you, you cannot go through life destroying people's lives and making plans with them and destroying those relationships and those hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and financially, verbally, mentally, maybe even physically, and definitely spiritually abusing people without there being a huge, huge consequence to pay. I mean a huge one. And that won't come at the hands of a human being. It's going to come at the hands of something else. And my hope, as I open the video with, is that you are nowhere near this when it takes place, because the narcissist knows what they do. They know what they've done in the past. They know what they're doing right now. And they're just hoping to have more opportunities to blow up more people's lives in the future, because this is what they know. This is what they do. And this is what fuels them. That's why the path is to go no contact, and to block them and delete them and remove them and all fly monkeys, etc. So that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas, which are very cold right now. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you. You are not alone. Remember that. And listen, like I shared with you earlier, I don't wish ill will on anybody. I haven't done that in my entire life. I honestly haven't. I'm not going to start now. The narcissist will get what's coming to them. You need to take the high road. You need to focus on yourself. You need to not want to have retribution or payback or do anything to them. The narcissist did what they did. This is what they do. And I know it's your life. It was my life as well. But when you really realize, when you really process and understand that focusing on yourself and healing and improving your life and or circumstances is the path. The path is not to hold a grudge. The path is not to have retribution, but definitely the path is to take the lifelong learning lessons from the past and not predict the future and live in the present moment, and make sure you go no contact. Make sure you are unhooverable, and make sure that you have no toxicity in your life going forward, because the narcissist is everywhere. They come in all shapes, sizes, heights. They speak all different languages and everything. So you need to get and become the educated empath and have boundaries, and you need to learn to say no, the strongest word in the English language. I love you all. God bless you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye.